need to be smart about it, okay? If you are in a job that is already not feeling good for you, that is already compromising your self-care, your mental health or your physical health. Guys, this is not going to get easier when it's even more stressful on the outside. Be realistic. Can you even do this job, when things get rougher? Okay. Can you do this? I mean, people are so fatigued right now, and all they can think of is wanting to go on a vacation or finally going to restaurants again. It really isn't about this, guys. This is about you learning to live, learning to embody, finding ways of living that are healthier. And this includes your relationships, but also your work relationships. Everybody, for our energy update addendum for week 33. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy therapist and energy coach, guiding you through these phenomenal collective energies at the moment. Thank you all for coming here to this live event on Skype. We're doing this energy meditation daily, open for everybody. Last week I mentioned that energies will be shifting a little bit, and this is why I'm offering this addendum here for these next coming days, the 11th till the 16th of August 2021. There is a big energy shift going on, and I don't know if you can feel this. Some of you may have felt, and I suppose that it wasn't really that comfortable, but something that happened over the weekend, and it's not anything mystical. It is something that was actually to be expected. There is like a gear shift going on, and we will see this in mainstream media. It always kind of comes with a delay. So we, as the energetically sensitives and empaths, we feel that there's something wrong with us simply because we can't see this replicated yet. It isn't until you see like, oh, okay, now others are catching on. Now others are beginning to see things or feel things in a way that I am feeling them, and this will then also help you to let go of this fixation that it's all you or that there's something wrong with you. We have a lot of things wrong in our world right now, and I think it's neutral enough to say that it's difficult for all of us to deal with the ups and downs of these current events. What is happening here right now, and for you as energetically sensitives, this has probably been painful in these last weeks, and makes it hard for you to look into the future with a clear sense of direction, is something that I've called in the forecast for this year 21 and ongoing till 23, is this gaslighting. So there is this, on a collective level, this construed and often misdirected. So it's not all wrong, but it is misdirected, meaning that there's agendas there that are all, and this is the interesting part that we see here with the media wars, is that they're all copying from another. So to a degree, they all want to point something out first. They all want to be sort of super informative, and yet what they, as in like sort of mainstream media journalism, is that they're just copying from another. So there is an agenda behind all these copied opinions. These are all just opinions, because very few articles, very few that you read in the news are actually researched by the individual journalist. And if they are, they're quite interesting. Yeah, so when you just skim through the headlines, each headline has the same weight, and you're not really seeing if this is something that's just sort of copied, replicated sort of as ripples from other news outlets, okay? And this creates this feeling that we are so different, so wrong, so we as individuals, that whatever it is that we're feeling, is stupid, is completely misguided, like a kid. It's like we're feeling treated like we are not seeing it right. We are not able to understand the bigger picture. Okay, wait till you're grown up and you'll see it too. Kind of like notion that is going on, and that makes us question our perception. And you've heard me say this many, many times. If you are in a relationship, or if you're at a workplace, or if you live in conditions where the environment kind of portrays as they have it figured out, but you the only one who doesn't have it figured out, this should be a red flag for you, okay? Because there is no such thing in situations like right now. This is a global situation. Nobody has answers. Nobody has fixes. There is no such thing. We're all in this together, and we have to work with what we have. And you guys, as truth seekers, you came here to wiggle your way through all this, to discern what is true, what isn't, what is true for you, what you need, what you want, based on who you are. And what I'm seeing right now is that this gaslighting is taking on a painful form. It really makes you question your needs and your wants and your integrity. It makes you feel like, and it doesn't really matter if you're, pro or against, or whatever these topics are. Vaccines obviously is one of the biggest issues right now, because the pandemic isn't over, all right? And it appears that people who have vaccines are just as transmissible as people who don't have vaccines. They don't get as sick, but they're still transmitting it, just like unvaccinated people. And there's a lot of controversy there. And I need you to understand that whatever you're feeling about this is that there's nobody out there who has the answers. There isn't enough data. Now you're seeing data coming forward from the pharmaceutical industry fighting about their pole position in the market, because we're talking about currently roughly 2 billion people who've received a vaccine who will need booster shots every 6 months. We're talking about massive amounts, beyond what you can imagine, money. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is the competitors here around the vaccines going into a war against another. And this is confusing us. It distracts us from what these vaccines are supposed to be about. They're supposed to protect us, and they do, okay? They help us to not get terminally ill from a COVID infection, but they also seem to be, and this is obviously something you can't quote me on because there is no evidence for this yet, but there also seems to be the thought process that the virus keeps mutating because we keep trying, to circumvent it. So when seen from a holistic point of view, there are other ways to deal with this, considering the fact that the mechanism of this virus, which is very, very complex, pretty much it attacks the human body, not just in these 4 ways that I predicted a year and a half ago, but meanwhile, they found 20 different ways how this virus is actually attacking our immune system or our system altogether. And which systems are attacked? It is this is the holistic and the energetic viewpoint. What is attacked is our life force, is the part in us down to the biochemical functions where our energy is being generated. Okay, and this should make us think, guys, because the coronavirus isn't that hard to outsmart. All right, we've talked about this many, many times, how vitamin D, vitamin C, and certain mineral levels, but primarily vitamin D levels, can really protect you from, or at least create some sort of para-immunity from, if you don't have any comorbidities, from COVID. And what that means is that healthy lifestyles, going outside a lot, living in ventilated rooms, yeah, like me here, outdoors, okay? Even though I have background noises all the time, but it is a choice that I'm making. It's a statement that I'm making for myself, that I want to operate in this place where I'm surrounded by trees and plants, and where I have fresh air at all times, even if it gets a little hot sometimes. But that's my way of living. That's my way of conducting my business. And so this decision here that I have made, I want to show you that this is what this next week's energy is all about. Comes with the sense of I'm alone, comes with the sense of, sort of catching a lot of criticism, or, people saying, oh, you're a professional. Why don't you go inside? Why don't you I have a studio inside. I do recordings there. But for my everyday interaction with people, I choose not to sit in an artificial environment where I don't feel good. I choose to sit in an environment that allows me to focus on a person from a place of me being free, me feeling good, me prioritizing my own energetic health, okay? And this decision, this choice has to do with my integrity, my authenticity, and that is what you guys will need to step into. I've called this many different things. I've called it coming out of the woodwork. I've called it making conscious choices. I've called it overcoming fears. All right, now I want to name it. You're going to have to stand up with what is good for you and what prioritizes your self-care, your wellness, and your health, including that of your family, because in the future, that will be your biggest concern. Bring your personal finances in order, but don't think you have to have it all figured out. You're not going to have to live off your pension, okay? This is not what this is about. This is much more fundamental. Make decisions where you're standing up for what you are, what you need, and what you want, okay? And think of it as basically your ticket out of your own duality. And sometimes it means you have to travel alone. Sometimes it means that you will feel that you have to leave others behind. Sometimes it will make you question yourself because it feels so alone, having this clarity that others don't have. But trust me, guys, and you have to take my word for this for now, you will not find answers or security in conformity, in compliance, or listening to other people's opinions or fears. Most of other people's opinions are fear-based. And if you listen to fear-based opinions, you are literally lowering your vibrancy, your energy to that fear-based field, and with it also your manifestations. So heads up here for the second part of this week into the next weekend, with lots of revelations, lots of new data being published, lots of new insights, and mainstream media starting to realize that they're a little behind, that they're behind the curve, and watch them scramble to catch up, because there is data there that is clearly showing that this pandemic of unvaccinated people is an agenda, is not really what we're having here. Okay, I wanted to keep this short, but we have a few minutes before we go into the inner experience of these current energies and do the energy meditation for today. What does this bring up in you? Thank you for sharing. You are expressing a concern that many people have worldwide. You don't want to be forced on the vaccine. You want to have free choice. And we're not saying, or I'm not saying that this is going to happen. But depending on what country you are in, depending on the regulations, It's all starting to become very pressurized around staying unvaccinated. Yeah, whether you're an anti-vaxxer or not really has nothing to do with this. Choosing to get this shot, okay, does not necessarily express your political opinion about vaccinations or anything connected with that at all. It could be going this way. Yes, I don't think it is going to go this way. What we're seeing instead, though, and this is something that is very concerning for especially this audience, is that you're going to be pushed into sort of your codependent triggers. The pressure, the peer pressure that is coming on, and that's why I called it collective gaslighting, where you're being made responsible, where you're being made feel guilty for, say, prolonging the pandemic, or even be responsible. I mean, I've heard all kinds of irrational things like that. Unvaccinated people are the reason why the pandemic even exists. Stuff like that. You're going to see a lot of this irrationality here coming forward. This will sort of continue till the end of August here. Very irrational and sometimes completely outdated statements. Most of, or many countries have a constitution that does not allow mandatory vaccines. There's also a problem around the terminology, because those shots can actually not be called vaccines, and for as long as they are not approved as vaccines, they really count as experimental drugs and study drugs, okay, which is why the FDA here in the United States is now pushing big time to get this approval, because a lot of people who were unvaccinated say that they don't want to get the shot until it's approved. So you're going to see a scramble there. My comment in regards to codependency here has to do with knowing this pattern around codependency really well. And many people who were convinced that they didn't want to take the vaccines end up getting the vaccine because they couldn't withstand the peer pressure. And I'm not saying that you should get vaccinated or not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to be really, really clear about what the choice is that you're making and what you're making this on. Okay, if you have health concerns, if you are elderly, if you have comorbidities, if you have reasons to believe that this a disease that comes with the virus infection could severely damage you, or worse, then just like with any medication, you would evaluate whether it's worth the risk, right? So but on the other hand, you wouldn't take a chemotherapy to prevent cancer, would you now? And I'm also not implying that the shot functions like a chemotherapy, or that it is more dangerous, although there are statistics, especially for children, that show that the risks of dying from the vaccine for children is 50 times higher than dying from COVID, which, is when you have that scientific mind, it's still all on the level of correlations. We don't have enough data. There is no proof, guys. The only proof that we have so far, or that we can observe, this is a phenomenon that we can observe, correlation, is that people with vaccine don't seem to have as many or severe symptoms. And that's a very good reason for many, and that seems to be working. Not as high as they suggested, slightly lower, but still within the range, of 60 to 75%. That's pretty good. Yeah, so that part seems to be the only consistent part here. There's new data now showing at least the preliminary data from January till July. Okay. The problem can be, though, and I'm just putting this out for discussion here, and this is what you're going to see, is that because the vaccines are very effective in preventing symptoms, and yet it still makes the person have the same viral load, meaning, they can spread the virus just as much as unvaccinated people who get COVID. People who are vaccinated and who are asymptomatic, meaning having no symptoms as a result of the shot, might become, silent transmitters. Okay. So these are very serious issues, and I'm not proposing that you have sort of more cognitive dissonances about this. I just want you to stay open. I want you to stay open and observe what is going on. You need to do your own due diligence. I read the studies, but it's okay for me to do that. Yeah, I can assure you that 99% of all news articles out there right now are not up to date. Yeah, and so what it is that I'm hinting at here is the public reaction to that being revealed. Okay, and also how the media is actually kind of victim of that as well, if you will, because they try to conform. So conformism is the problem here. And what makes us conform? That's why I brought these codependency issues. Other issues are performance. I want to point out Simone Biles. I don't know if you know her, the US gymnast who quit the competition based on prioritizing her own mental health, the pressure that the athletes experienced during the Olympics in Tokyo. And these are extremely important leadership roles, role models that we need. We need people in high positions, in positions that everybody adores or admires, to say that they are prioritizing their health care, their health, their mental health, for us to feel normal again. Yeah. So these are the kind of things that I want to bring to your attention, and to stop, since I've already gave up the tip last week to not consume mainstream media too much. I'm not suggesting that you consume alternative media either, because it's just as skewed. Understand that. Yeah. What I am suggesting is that you, if you want to be informed, go all the way. Yeah, and read the studies. If you are coming to the conclusion that there's not enough data out there, that we have professionals, that it's the job of our government, of our authorities, to do that kind of research, then go rely on their outlets, not media outlets. And if you are not sure if you can trust your authorities or your government, then follow the breadcrumbs, follow the money, follow the resources, follow the links.
Jona, Cheryl from Canada.
Yes.
Speaking.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for saying it. Just thank you, because I am totally seeing all that you're feeling right now, and I really appreciate this level of communication.
Thank you for your appreciation. It's very important that we speak up. Anybody in any kind of influential position, and it's important that we stay neutral. You cannot go into any kind of political rant or emotional rant about these things. This is all foreseeable, predictable. Yeah, it's not new, guys. We are at the precipice of changing that. That's what you need to recognize. So my tip for next week, besides, really coming to this place with yourself where you inoculate yourself from this peer pressure, from this outer pressure, where you go into that courage. You do not have to make other people wrong. You do not have to vilify anybody. You do not have to say any word against the pharmaceutical industry or governments or anything like that. You don't even have to say anything negative about mainstream media. I take the liberty to do that. But your job is really to find your voice and to be firm on that. And if there are people like within your own family, within your workplaces, many of you will feel the pressure from your workplaces to have vaccines. You already may or are experiencing this here in the United States, a bunch of companies who have already mandated them. Then all I want to say to you is execute your right to make a decision. And when this violates your integrity, then walk out. There'll be a lot of lawsuits in the future. Yeah, so there's a huge shift that is coming in here now that will last till the end of the year, and then once more shift in spring 22, which is when I'm suggesting that the virus will no longer be the main threat. Yeah, you have to get your financials in order, but that it's not about having huge amounts of money stacked. You need to be smart about it, okay? If you are living in a job that is already not feeling good for you, that is already compromising your self-care, your mental health or your physical health, guys, this is not going to get easier when it's even more stressful on the outside. Yeah, so when I say get your financials sorted out in regards to your jobs, because this is always the first thing that comes to our mind, be realistic. Can you even do this job, yeah, when things get rougher? Okay, can you do this? I mean, people are so fatigued right now, and all they can think of is wanting to go on a vacation or finally going to restaurants again. It really isn't about this, guys. This is about you learning to live, learning to embody, finding ways of living that are healthier. And this includes your relationships, but also your work relationships. So if you are in workplaces that are toxic or where you feel they're not healthy for you, then take care of this now. If you feel you need to refinance or you need to cash out something, there's a window of opportunity right now. If you feel that you want to move because where you live, the apartment, the house, or the place where you live in is not healthy for you, then do this now. Do this now. Yeah. And what do we need? Where can we find this courage? Okay. How long is now? Now. Yes, I'm actually talking about now. I'm talking about August. I'm talking about these next 2 weeks. Okay. Changes. Initiate changes. You don't have to have it figured out. You don't need to have all the answers. No, the 2 years, yeah. So the 2 year series that you're mentioning, and I've, said this before in the forecast for 21 and 23 till 23. That's the sort of the overall transition that we're going through, and then after that, in 24, it calms down. This now is actually now. Okay, so I'm literally talking about now, but initiating things means making your mind up if you want to get divorced, making your mind up if you want to keep working in this job, making your mind, or this company that you work for, making your mind up if you want to stay in this apartment, and initiating a change. You don't need to, drop everything and move into a new house or apartment next week. Okay, you need to initiate this. Because the thing is, guys, what comes in the future will create even more panic in other people, which means that our resources, and of course also the housing market, we've seen all this, will go into utter chaos. Yeah, which means if you don't have millions of cash laying around somewhere where you can compensate for this, you're going to have to be smart, and smart be listen to your inner feeling, listen to your inner prompting, whatever it is that you feel you need to get or you need to change, initiate this now. This has to do with you seeing the bigger picture. Do not fall for the gaslighting, which is everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to go back to normal. This is not going to happen, guys. And you know me, I'm all upbeat, and I know where all this going, and I'm positive, hopeful, and courageous. But I do know what it takes. Yeah. And depending on your age, depending on how much practice you have in standing your ground, in speaking your truth, okay, it will be easier or harder for you. If you are younger, you don't have that much practice yet. Yeah, so those of you who are mature, who are experienced, who know how life works, yeah, you need to be the role models. Yeah, and scaring other people with your own fears, that is not responsible. From an energetic point of view, you know, this is an attack, it's an interference, and therefore, you know, not the right way. Even if you're 100% convinced that what you are seeing for the future is correct. But you can't install or project fear onto others. And this is also not my intention here with this outlet. Yeah, so this is about you understanding what embodiment actually means. It doesn't mean holding hands in kumbaya, although we will find ourselves doing that. It means being realistic about what it is that you need, what you want, what you need to prioritize. Right now is this time. You need to know what you are prioritizing. And performance is always linked to conformance, if you will. Yeah. Just a little food for thought here. This isn't about functioning anymore. This concludes the second part of this energy update or the energy addendum for week 33. All right, then let's enjoy the inner experience with all this sincerity that I brought in here. Maybe it can help you to relax and also show you the way where to go when you are internally challenged, when you don't know where to look for answers, where to find this empowerment, to find this courage. And what it allows us to do is to tune into this bigger picture and recognizing that we are spirit beings, and that in that sort of realm of spirit beings, that there is support and that there is help there as well. I've said in the forecast for August that we'll get unexpected support, and that is where you can go. This doesn't matter, or this has nothing to do with religion or, you know, any kind of other sort of belief. This is something that you can feel from within yourself, the support that you find when you address your own higher self. Very beautiful, deep space. Just right now, could you feel this? It went very deep, very quickly. Did anybody of you had a lot of sort of visuals, imagery and stuff coming forward? Your guys' third eyes were really open. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Yeah. Be careful with those visuals, that you don't get pulled into them, just like with mainstream media. Mainstream media can actually produce etheric visuals, fear-based at the moment. So that's why overcoming fear remains the main antidote for the month of August 21. Sparkly, Yes, but not all that sparkles is gold. Nigel, you know what I mean with that. Yes. Yeah, so the control that we're feeling from the outside can trigger fear. That these are the kind of warnings that I am giving you here right now. The pressure, the control is going to be stronger. And you're going to have to be steadfast. You're going to have to know what it is that you want. Yes. It's a huge new step for all of us here, especially around the full moon on the 22nd. By the way, we have the next free Connect with Your True Self energy session on the full moon. It's a very powerful one, really marking a new beginning for many of us. Okay, guys, I have to go. Next session is waiting. If you need assistance, please shoot me an email, request a free initial energy coaching session, or book these energy coaching sessions with me if you need guidance for this difficult time in life. All right. Thank you all for coming. Please share. See you on Friday. Bye-bye.